What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. So excited about this video. If you're new to us
and we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
Of black people in British history is sometimes thought of as a story that begins with the arrival of the Windrush. In reality, the Windrush is just one chapter in a much longer history. Black people have been living in this country for centuries, and the story of the black presence in the United Kingdom goes back all the way to Roman times. This is old history, the history that you don't learn at school.
Of course.
When I was 16, I went into a bookshop and I bought this book, Staying Power by Peter Fryer. And to black British people of my generation, this was the most important book in the world, because what it did was it showed us that we weren't new arrivals, but that we were part of a longer, deeper history that went back centuries. Because we're not telling key moments in British history, whole aspects of the story of Britain are simply being left out of the picture. And I think it's time that changed. That phrase, black British, that we're really used to today, I never heard that when I was growing up. To be black and to be British, well, they were two separate things. You couldn't really be both. To be black was not really to be British. And it was the history, it was books like Staying Power by Peter Fryer that showed me that there'd always been black British people.
Black British history is so diverse. It's just kind of a shame that at a young age you can't really participate and celebrate in your identity.
How can you not want to learn about your past because you can't go forward without understanding your past?
When I talk to young black people, what they tell me is that they are as desperate as I was when I was their age to learn more about the longer history of the black presence in Britain, and that history is still not being taught to them at school.
Wow.
When it came to learning about black history, it was mainly pumped within a month of something that should have been a year consistently. And it was kind of ranging from Myrie to Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King.
What a lot of people are taught at school are the biographies of individual black people. And there's lots of good stuff that comes out of that. It's really great that kids now learn about Myrie and they learn about Walter Tull. That's great, and I haven't got a problem with it. But if you only do that, what you find is you just create these isolated black characters, and what you don't learn about are the forces that led Britain to interact with Africa, interact with Africans. You don't learn about just how important the sugar slavery economy was in the 17th and 18th and early 19th centuries. We don't learn that Britain's relationship with the United States, economic relationship after the American War of Independence and right up to the Civil War, is founded on cotton, and that cotton is produced by African Americans, enslaved African Americans.
We're kind of told in a way that...
Look how much of our history is so interconnected.
Yeah.
My very first time of hearing about black Brits were when I was watching the movie The Book of Negroes. And that's a newer movie, right? It was a part of the movie, and of course everything is loosely based on our history, right? Well, it's not that loose, but y'all get the picture. And it was a part when the lady who was writing the names in the book went to England to get them to they didn't want their thoughts to change her testimony. So that was my first time hearing it. I was like, hold up, this was way back when, during the American Revolution.
Yeah.
And that's what made me start diving deeper into the UK's black history. And it's more than the parts that we have shown on the channel. So I'm glad that y'all sent this video in.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have found this video.
Yeah. Digging deep into your history, man. Knowing self. Because you can't be somebody in a location without knowing the people who fought or who was put there before you. Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
these things didn't happen in the UK, and we're told that certain things like this happened within America, and it wasn't on our soil, and we treated black people great and well, and we provided all these things for them, when in the reality there was no difference.
It's great that we learn today about the biographies of individual black figures from the past, and those stories were important to me when I was growing up. But what we seem still to neglect are exploring other issues, things like the development of racial thinking in the 18th and 19th centuries, or the centrality of slavery.
Let's talk about
The
that.
development of
Let's
racial
talk about
thinking.
Because these people be getting on my nerves talking about the transatlantic slave trade wasn't the only slavery in history. Of course we know that.
Facts, yeah.
But this was the slavery in history, the chattel slavery that was made just simply because of our race. Simply because of our race.
Yeah.
And let's not even talk about the slavery before then on the Arabian Peninsula. Let's not even talk about that. This brutal part of history was so significant, and it's still on our lips today.
Come on now.
On the descendants' lips today because of how brutal it was. You enslaving people, you're making people feel inferior because they were born a certain way. We can't help who we were, which race of people we were born into.
Powerful. Get y'all plates, man. She cooking.
Well, that's all I got to say right now.
It was going good. When she start talking about history, you guys, I'm all ears. Right? We learn from each other, right? Mm-hmm. We dive into different things that can help us be more educated as well. But I just love it when you get to cooking, though. I do.
Yeah.
British economy. Black history is more than just biographies. It is fundamental to understanding British history because it is a fundamental part of British history.
I don't know if this whole exclusionary history is like a nod to empire, laziness, or they just don't really care about black people, people of colour, working class, or women in general. I just don't know.
What the new science is proving is that there were Afro-Romans living in Britain. There are people who find it challenging, even threatening, that black people have been in Britain since Roman times. There are people who feel the need, when this is discussed online, to go on Twitter, to go on social media and discredit these ideas. There are people who would rather deny the facts than confront the quite simple, uncontroversial, in my view, reality.
And again, people always, they got their own ideas and stuff, but I kind of look at them like, for instance, when people are doing a protest, a peaceful protest, how they put that little pawn out there to just go bust a window for free.
Yep, on the other side.
On the other side, and then it just trickle all the way back up to the protest, and now people are looking at them as if they are the rioters, they're savages, and they're just that and the third. It's like, you're not adding anything to the group of people who are actually trying to make a peaceful movement by hurting and breaking down the mentality of what people are trying to truly learn. You're debunking everything they want to learn to better themselves as people when you're telling them you're not this, you're not that. That's just, it don't benefit at all.
So that's why when people say get over this, get over that, it's like, no, you the person who needs to get over your biases, your prejudices, and look within and see why you don't want people to get somewhere.
People who want you to get over stuff, they don't take accountability. That's all that is.
Don't take accountability.
Yes, sir.
Is that Britain was part of the Roman Empire, and the Roman Empire was multiracial. One of the best examples is the ivory bangle lady. She was a middle-class Afro-Roman living in 4th century York. We know she was African because of the tests that had been done on her remains, and because among her possessions was a bracelet made of African ivory. John Blank was a trumpeter in the court of the Tudors, in the court of Henry VIII, and he is the first black Briton for whom we have not just a name and evidence from the archives, we have his picture. He appears on a document called the 1511 Westminster Tournament Roll. He is the first black Briton whose name we can give a face to. That makes him really special. Among the documents that tell us something of the life of John Blank is a petition that he had written demanding a pay rise. Now, he's sending this petition to his boss, to Henry VIII. What that tells us is that this is somebody who values themselves. This is somebody who understands that their skills are worth something. And he's willing to stick his neck out and demand a pay rise from Henry VIII. And he gets his pay rise.
Oh,
Come on, man.
okay.
When I was at school, I was taught about the Act of Abolition, that Britain freed the slaves. What I wasn't told was that Britain also compensated the slave owners to the tune £20 million. Now that's around £17 billion today. Slavery wasn't just abolished, the slave owners were compensated for their loss of property.
That's wild.
Let's let
That's
that
wild.
marinate, babe. Let's let it marinate. Cause that didn't just happen there. That happened here. So when people talk about reparations and other people say, "Oh, y'all don't need reparations," we don't need reparations. But when slavery ended, they got reparations. What?
Right.
What?
Not to mention after it ended, how black people was getting together to rebuild their communities, their banks, and everything else, so they can have their money flourish. And they had all that burned down.
We've seen that. We've seen that on
And
y'all
they didn't
side.
get compensated for that either. You know what I'm saying? So
Ooh.
it's a lot.
Property. There was another part of the Act of Abolition that I didn't learn at school. What I wasn't taught was that the former slaves weren't freed immediately. They were made to work 45 hours a week for the next 4 to 6 years for their former owner in a system that was called apprenticeship.
What type of laws y'all was just throwing out there to make sure everybody... That's
There is a
wild.
specific moment in British history that I'm thinking about this year. We've marked lots of centenary anniversaries from 1914 to 1918, but there is another set of stories about another year. A year in which black soldiers returned from fighting but were not included in the victory parades. A year of race riots. A year in which a black man was lynched on the streets of a British city. All of that happened in the forgotten year of 1919.
1919.
Wow.
Yo,
Wow.
there's some ugly people out here. That's hard. That's hard.
History just always... History gets me to a place of... Sometimes I don't even want to call it anger. It's not anger. It's just frustration.
Okay.
And I get blocked sometimes by the things I really, really want to say. You know, it's just... The fact that we still deal with the remnants of that today. Now, I do know the UK have come a long way. You know, but I don't live in the UK. All right? So that's just from, you know, what I've gathered. They have come a long way. Especially from, I think we covered the race riots on this channel.
I believe so.
Yeah. I think we've covered that. But,
That's why you got to know your history, man. It helps you mentally. It really do help you mentally. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't just cut off what happened in life and then try to thrive off of a certain period of time that you only want to, you only want to exist because of how you feel.
because of how you feel.
You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You got to accept the entirety of something in order for you to thrive through the, the necessary parts of life. Real
Yes.
necessary parts.
The full history. You can't just pick and choose which parts of history you want to relate to.
Yeah.
Because you have a responsibility to the people that comes after you to keep the progress going, right? But what I can say is I'm proud that the UK seems to be in a better place with the people as a whole.
Yeah.
We are here.
Yeah.
You know, we have a lot of work to do, but I'm just proud that the people can coexist peacefully.
Yeah.
You know? So we hope you guys enjoy this video with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace.